to perform the rhythms that we have annotated. And this is the set where we have a mixture of 2/4, 3/4, and 4/4 time signatures. So we'll go through each one of these in turn. We'll do both the clapping and counting variation and the conducting and tawing variation. Clapping and counting is always a little bit easier, so we'll start with that. So number 1, clapping and counting. We're counting to 4 for every measure, and we are holding on to our claps for the longer values where we see the longer underlines. Let's give it a go. So here's how number 1 goes with the clapping and counting. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now the conducting and tawing variation. So as you'll recall, 1, 2, 3, 4, or down, in, out, up is your pattern. You will hang on, you will sustain your taws for a longer amount of time when you've got the longer underlines, and you'll have shorter taws over there when you've got just 1 beat notes, the quarter notes. So here's how it goes. 1, 2, are ready, and ta, 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 ta. And throughout these exercises, just take breaths where you need them, but try to maintain consistency of pulse. So stay steady all the way through. One of the mistakes I see students make sometimes is going back to the clapping and counting variation. The counting isn't always consistent. So for instance, you might hear something like this: 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. We want to try to make all of the beats exactly equal in value. So like 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on. So there should be a steadiness to it. All right, that out of the way, let's do number 2. We'll do the clap and count variation here first. Now we've got that new time signature, 2/4. So we're going to count to 2 for every measure. And we'll hold on to our claps for the longer underlines, so especially that one in the middle. Otherwise, shouldn't be too terribly difficult. Here we go. 1, 2, 1, 2. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Then with the conduct and taw variation, so you'll recall the 2 pattern is just down, up, and you can kind of go out to the side a little bit if you like. Hang on to your long taw there in the middle. Keep that pattern going consistently. So here we go. 1, 2, are ready, and ta, 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 ta. And finally, number 3, we have as our time signature 3/4. So when we clap and count, we'll count to 3, again, making sure those counts are regular. And I would just say pay close attention to the end because these notes sometimes fall on unpredictable beats. So here we go. Clap and count. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. And then the conduct and taw variation. So that 3 pattern, down, out, up, or from your perspective, down, right, up, down, right, up. Hang on to your long taws. Keep that pattern going consistently. So here we go. 1, ready, go. Ta, 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 ta. All right, now we've tackled these 3. And before we get to the next challenge, I wanted to give you a challenging variation for these 3 examples that we just covered. So for those of you who are brand new to reading music, probably what you've been doing has been focusing like a hawk on those numbers below, the ones where you have the underlines. And that's perfect. That's exactly what you want to do at first. However, what you want to do eventually is to get to the point where you don't need that little set of hints anymore. In fact, you can just look at the notes themselves and figure out how to play or clap or taw the piece of music. So a challenge that you might want to try is to go back, for instance, to number 1 and put your hand over these numbers, cover them up, and see how well you can do just clapping and counting, only looking at the notes. And then you can do the conduct and taw variation as well. So in other words, do that process for 1, 2, and 3. don't look at your hints, just look at the notes and see how well you can do. You can go back and forth and compare what you did with your annotations with what you did just looking at the notes themselves. All right, now that out of the way, let's get to the real challenge of this chapter. This one should be pretty fun. And this is where I say explicitly, like, don't write down any hints whatsoever. See if you can just wing it. See if you can use all of your knowledge that you've gained this chapter, your knowledge of quarter notes, your knowledge of conducting patterns, beat values, etc. And let me explain why this one, first of all, is fairly challenging. I'm sure you already notice some challenges here. For one thing, it's really long, right? We start up here. This is just one giant piece of music. We don't get the final double bar line until the very end. So it's kind of an endurance test in that respect. We have some ties, a couple of ties. And what's really interesting this time is we've got changes of time signature. So it starts off in 4/4. And whenever you see a time signature, you begin it immediately and you continue with that time signature until you are told otherwise. So this is 4/4, 4/4, still 4/4. And then when you hit this new time signature, 2/4, then you switch gears. You immediately, if you're conducting, you go into your 2 pattern, or if you're counting, you begin counting to 2 for every measure. That lasts until you are told otherwise. So it begins with the 2 pattern over here, and it continues through the beginning of that next line. So you're still thinking 2. And then only there do you change again, this time to 3/4. By the end of it, as I'm sure you've noticed looking through this, you're changing quite a bit. You're changing quite frequently your time signatures in the last 5 measures or so. So this one will be a challenge. I'll demonstrate it for you first with the clapping and counting, then with the conducting and tying. Throughout this, take it slow at first. I'll probably recommend that you start slower than what I give you, and then work your way up to it. As always, clapping and counting is a little bit easier than conducting and tying. I'll give you one hint about the conducting and tying before we get to that. But for right now, clapping and counting. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's the easier of the 2 variations. The whole business of conducting and tying. So this one's harder, not simply because you have to conduct, and conducting in general tends to be a little bit harder for music fundamental students. The trick here is because the conducting changes so much towards the very end, you really have to be thinking ahead a little bit, like, oh, I'm about to do a 2 pattern, so I better get ready for that. So even while your brain may still be devoting some of its attention to the previous measure, part of your brain has to be looking ahead and thinking, oh, that's the down-up pattern that's coming up. So this is a good challenge. So here's how it goes from the beginning, conducting and tying. Remember, hang on to those tied notes. Here we go. 1, 2, are ready, and ta, 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 ta. So a couple of things to note about that. One is you're probably going to run out of breath at a certain point. Remember, the most important thing is to keep that pulse steady. So don't slow down or speed up your conducting to accommodate when you need to take a breath. Just keep it going on autopilot all the way through. Now, the other thing I wanted to mention, I think I've mentioned this a little bit in passing earlier in the chapter. This drill is super useful, especially for those of you who sing in choirs. If you train yourself to do just this light, very gentle, silent conducting while you're in rehearsal, maybe you've got your hymnal in your left hand or your score in your left hand, if you just keep track of the pulse, not only will you be able to follow the conductor much better, you'll never get lost in the music. If you know, oh, well, this is just in a 4 pattern for a while, you'll always be able to get right back on track. If you flub a note here or there, doesn't matter. You'll never get lost that way. So it's a great, useful application of these skills. So try out all of these and have fun, especially with this last one.